Good morning, friends, and welcome to another Mercy Moment and Emery episode. I wanted to share our adventure and chronicle our days in the hospital with Emery for her, I believe it's the third stay. First 510 days of life. She had a few days in, I believe it was June, and went back in on August 22nd for 9 days and 9 nights. And yesterday uh, was August 31st, 2019, and she was released. We got her home just as we entered the early evening hours, and so thankful to have her home out of that atmosphere and out of just a exhausting place to be in the hospital. And anyone who's been in the hospital knows exactly what I'm talking about on that level. But I wanted to share a little bit of our journey in these last 9 days and the nuggets that I received, because I proclaimed at the very beginning of that time that this would be a time of growth and God's goodness over the situation. And it was a growing process. Kimberly and I noticed a stark difference from the previous days we'd had in the hospital. We saw so much growth, and that was exciting. It's taking us somewhere. Pain has purpose, and there is no success without suffering. Suffering is the pathway to victory, the pathway to excellence, the pathway to a rewarding life. Jesus showed this through his life. For the joy set before him, he endured this cross, scorning its shame, and he sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. He revealed for eternity, suffering is the road to glory. There is no glory without suffering. And bypassing suffering and taking shortcuts does not result in lasting or satisfying results. Suffering is the pathway, friends. Jesus was the suffering servant, so to follow in his footsteps means suffering. I'm so thankful that he has set the example as the pioneer and perfecter of my faith. He set the tone, and he leads the way for all of us. And I'm sharing this episode because I want it to impact you. I want you to receive a critical attitude, mindset, and perspective that will liberate and empower you no matter what comes in life. Do you want to have an immovable, unshakable life of power, grit, and fortitude? Well, join me today, because that is what I'm after. Following my King in his triumphant victory, his eternal victory that leads to eternal optimism and eternal hope in our lives. Yes, there's moments we get beat down. we hit that mark on Wednesday. Wednesday, I believe it was August 28th, if I remember right. And as we were going through this journey, we were transferred from Colorado Springs. Kimberly hopped in an ambulance about 11:30 p.m. on August 22nd and went down the road, and I followed behind in our car and landed back in Denver, where Emery spent February of 2018 through December of 2018. It was crazy coming back. It's been a ride, friends. I'm so thankful that she has a tenacious spirit. She's an overcomer, and I'm so grateful for the life that we get to live as a family. It's been hard. It's been hard pressing. It's been bitter at many points. There's no way of negating or downplaying that. But those very things have been what have forged our character, forged our hearts, and strengthened our minds, because we've been depositing truth. We've been growing in things that liberate, and it showed in our journey these last 9 days, because suffering paving the way for something so much sweeter. And hope is discovered often in the darkest places of adversity. Let that sink in. hope can be discovered in its purest form, in the most lifting ways, in the darkest of circumstances. You may find yourself in a hard pressed spot with a lot of uncertainty, doubt, and fear. Time to obliterate that, because faith overcomes those feelings. And learning how to overcome feelings with faith is the benchmark of power and freedom that will liberate your soul to shine in suffering. Instead of surviving, I believe you were created to shine. That's what Jesus has empowered. Jesus, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords. One day every knee will bow, every tongue will confess He is Lord. You bow now or you bow later. It's that simple, friends. And I won't stop proclaiming this message through my words in my life. Jesus is King, Jesus is Lord, and He is worthy of the suffering. He is worthy of the reward of His suffering. And He is the Prince of Peace. He provides peace that transcends all understanding, that will guard our hearts and minds in the fiercest of circumstances. He is not mocked. He is victorious. And to follow in His footsteps means suffering, but it means eternal victory. He is faithful. Even when I'm faithless, I was so faithless this last Wednesday. I was broken down, I was weary, and I was exhausted. But He showed up. Had a powerful time at Cherry Hills Community Church, the church that we became members of before we moved out here, knowing we were moving to the Springs. God's doing some amazing things. It's such a joy to be a part of this body of believers and to be led by such amazing warriors and leaders. It's been such a joy, so refreshing to the soul. And God did something in me in this journey that has marked me and that's going to carry me for the rest of my life. That's how powerful what I received was, as I took that undivided time and sought Him with my whole heart. He says He's the rewarder of the one who diligently seeks Him. And He says, when you seek me with your whole heart, you will find me. The wholehearted pursuit is the one of greatest joy. And wholeheartedness is the benchmark of a son or daughter of God. That's what He longs for, to be wholehearted. That's freedom. Oh, it's such a liberating and satisfying place, friends. With that said, friends, I close with my brand, my personal brand for the rest of my life, and that is onwards and upwards with grace and grit. May we become grittier people, stronger and more beautiful, as we intentionally live with a heart, attitude, and perspective that's renewed and transformed by spending time in the presence of the immovable one, that is Jesus.